Nope. Mark's still trying to get his mic back. Welcome to round 4 Modern here in chilly Cincinnati. We are going to see Grixis, Death Shadow, and Jeskai. Looks like the players have already started. Currently, looks like Alex is on the play. Victor not having a turn 1 hand hate spell, although he's going to go for it on turn 2. Thoughtseize.
Yeah, turn 1 would have been a lot better, but turn 2 seems fine.
I think it's fine too. I think letting them draw it out of turn.
Alex is not sure if he wants to show him. Okay.
What do you think? I think this is a game. I think this favors this favors Grixis.
So it's tough. We don't know
how much burn Alex has.
Yeah, you can play Jeskai. If he's on Jeskai Control, I'd say Alex could be favored. If he's on Jeskai sort of Tempo Spell Queller,
yeah,
then I like the Shadow deck.
Yeah.
But both of them have the tools to work around either of those strategies. You know, for one, even if Alex is on the Spell Queller plan, Bolt Snap Bolt is always pretty real against a Shadow deck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd much rather, because like if he's on a Tempo deck, this Jeskai, you might not have any Supreme Verdicts. You might have one.
Yeah.
But if you've got a lot of Supreme Verdicts, like a real control deck, that could be good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see if we see a Queller. A Spell Snare. Logic Knot. Still can't tell.
I think he's more of a control. I think we would have seen them. Even
seen a Queller or something.
Yeah.
Or like a Geist.
Or like something that would suggest that his deck is more geared towards that type of game plan. It's pretty much both these types of decks play Helix, so you can't really go based on that.
Yeah. So Victor took the path. Does he have a threat in hand, though? Oh, he's got a Tasker.
He's got a Tasker, just fine. His hand's really not very good against this type of matchup. He has Kolaghan's Command.
Yeah, Kolaghan's. If you can find an opportune time to discard and get a guy back, the Kolaghan's can be fine, but that can be hard to set up.
Yeah.
And that's the only, otherwise you're going to be shocking your opponent and you're shocking their Snapcaster Mage, and
yeah.
So there's definitely a good way to play Kolaghan's in the matchup, but it's not easy to find the window for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think game 1, the way he has his deck set up towards being like creature-based decks. Obviously, he's got his Terminates, he's got his Kolaghan's Command. I think he's got a Snapcaster Mage in his hand now, but unless he's really, how do I say this? Unless he's really wanting to like beat a control deck playing like 3 main deck Stubborn Denials, I don't think that his hand's gonna line up well.
Victor does play 3 in the main board. I'm in a text chat with Victor, and his list the other day had 3 stubs, and I said that seems excessive in the main, because he was trying to find a place to cut, to put. I think he said he wanted like a second Kolaghan's or something like that. Or a third Kolaghan's, and I thought he could cut one of the Stubborns, but I think he did. He definitely had 3 the last time I saw his list, but that was about a month ago. So,
yeah.
I think it's correct for these players to have 4 in the 75, because the card, when it's good, it's incredible. But in the matchups where it's bad, yeah, it's not great.
And then it's real bad.
Yeah. But this is definitely one of the ones where it's pretty good. And I think he might actually have the 3 still. So if he does, that could say something telling for this matchup. Okay,
Ooh,
so Geist. So Alex is maybe not on the Supreme Verdict plan.
But Geist is good against this.
Yeah,
sure. This hand.
Well, that's the other thing, is that Stubborn Denial is a crap card against Geist. That's why there are about 5 creatures in Modern that Grixis Death Shadow does not have a fun time with.
Yeah.
They have to take them out of your hand or you're gone. Geist is one of them. Voice of Resurgence is one of them. Walking Ballista is one of them. Like, there's just a few creatures that, you really wish Stubborn Denial weren't just a negate.
Yeah. Well, so Victor does have a lot of removal in his hand. So that angel token's not going to get in
you
for
think
a
he can
while.
remove the angel token for long enough?
Yeah, he's got like a fatal push and double terminate.
Sure, I suppose you just use it. I mean, it's not like he's going to fire up this colonnade anytime soon.
No. Victor deciding whether to take that 2 damage. And I think right now your life total is a resource that you need to utilize a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about 11 versus 9, that's a big deal in the face. You know, that's about how many pushes can I use on these angels? How many do I have to? How many hits can I take from the 2/2 X-proof?
Yeah. Really, Victor's hand, again, is not lining up particularly well in this matchup. It's again, we've seen this before though with Grixis Death Shadow. It's a deck that its game plan is, you know, right there in front of it. You know what it's going to do. It wants to damage itself, whether it's incidentally or not. It wants to damage itself, get out a quick Death Shadow, have hand disruption, any counter magic that it may have, and then beyond that, it's just a pile of removal spells, and you know, like the deck has a lot of bad draws late game. Between the hand hate spells when hands are empty, you see now like these removal spells. Honestly, beyond killing this angel token, they're not very good. So
now the thing is, if Alex is putting out, you know, if Alex has cast a Geist, I've got to imagine he has Spell Quellers. Unless this, like, what kind of Jeskai mid-range deck these days, you know, assuming he has 3 or 4 Geists in the main,
yeah,
what kind of deck like that wouldn't play Spell Queller today? But maybe he's not, because the Spell Quellers would make these removal spells really pretty good.
Yeah.
For the time being, though, they are sort of just kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. And Victor knew that Alex had that they electrolyze, which again, it's going to be good here.
Sure.
It's normally not very good in this matchup, though.
Yeah, no. Now, I will say, post-board, Victor's, you know, likely to bring in Pyro.
Yeah.
And I think if you see the Pyro game 2, Electrolyze can come up big game 3.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't leave him in game 2.
No, absolutely not. I think Alex maybe a little bit hasty there, played out his land prior to attacking. If he had, he drew a Hollowed Fountain, which he would have rather played this turn rather than untap next turn.
Sure.
Just so he could be aggressive and get in with his colonnade if he wanted to.
Sure. So, so Victor has 4 mana, which is maybe 1 more than where the deck wants to top out, but it does mean he has Tasker mana if he wants to start using that as an option, but I don't think he does. I mean, it would be nice to be able to try to Tasker and set up a play where you can get a Snapcaster to ambush Viper, you know, threaten the ambush Viper on the Geist, but I'm not sure how likely that is.
I think he's really on the back foot. I mean, his hand is really, it's 2 Terminates and 2 Cold Guns command. It's just really not lining up well against what Alex is trying to do. Alex is really the aggressor here. Like, and this is what I was talking about. Like, you do a lot of incidental damage to yourself between your fetch lands and your hand hate spells. And then decks like Alex's, which, you know, have burn spells and hexproof creatures that are hard to interact with, they can really...
So is that a Cryptic in Alex's hand?
Yeah, that's a Cryptic in Alex's hand, and he's got a white source. I don't know.
I think here you might have just been able to tap draw.
Yeah.
Without, you know, if you use tap draw here and he has the Stubborn Denial, fine, you get it out of his hand. If he doesn't answer the tap draw, you swing and put him to 2.
Yeah. And then any burn spell off the top kills him.
Okay, so now he's going to use the Cryptic to counter Kolaghan's end of turn. Counter bounce Tassiger.
Ooh.
That's pretty good because Victor's graveyard is not overloaded right now, so it's going to be hard for him to redeploy the Tassiger.
Yeah.
especially with these removal spells that
Yeah.
he can't get into the graveyard.
Got double terminate,
Yeah.
fatal push, Kolaghan's command, and Tasker in his hand. And
Yeah,
it's,
this is
like I said, this is what I'm talking about though. This deck's hands don't line up all that well against something like this. And I mean that's modern in a nutshell, obviously. But at the same time, you know, what do you do right here? I mean, if you're Victor, I guess you just play your Tassiger and, I mean, try to move on with your day a little bit, but...
So if I'm Victor right now, I'm sort of just going to take the loss here game 1, but I'm really hoping that my opponent shows me a Spell Queller soon.
Nah.
Just makes the mistake of showing it to me,
I mean,
so I'll know whether or not to, you know, how many pushes to leave in.
Yeah.
But
Victor actually just lost here because now he's going to animate that man land and get in there for 8.
sure, yeah. All right, well. So Victor will definitely bring in Liliana of the Veil.
Yeah.
He probably has 2 in the sideboard, maybe even more.
He's definitely taking out those fatal pushes.
Yeah. Again, if I'm Victor, I think if you can, you try to leave one in. Because you've just got to know this deck has Spell Queller. But maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Nah, I mean, I've seen some versions of Alex's deck run him in the side.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Usually it's the more game 1, it's the controlling version of Jeskai, though. It's not the Jeskai Geist version. So, but, I mean, regardless, you're going to keep in. You can't side out all your removal.
Sure.
I'm sure Alex is going to leave in, or excuse me, Victor's going to leave in some of his removal, whether it's Terminate, etc. He's definitely taking out Fatal Push. We know that.
Well, push interestingly is the nice 1-mana play to deal with Colonnade, but yeah, you probably just go for the Terminate. I mean, if he's firing up Colonnade, you hopefully have some lands that you don't care to pay 2 mana to terminate the
and
Colonnade.
beyond that, if he's firing up Colonnade, you're probably not winning.
Yeah, that's usually true. Yes.
Like we know Victor wants to be the aggressor in this case. You're not going to beat a control deck that has all the better control cards. You know that he has Cryptic Command. So
if you think Alex has Queller in the side, do you try to bring him in here, gaming your opponent to have taken out a lot of the removal? It doesn't. The unfortunate thing is it doesn't hit Angler or Tassiger, but it hits everything else on the deck.
So it does hit everything else on the deck. That part is true. The problem I see with Spell Queller is Alex's hand hate spells are twofold. They take a good card out of the hand. It also gives him a lot of information in regards to what type of game plan Alex is planning on playing, whether it's Geist, Spell Queller, etc. So then Victor's able to play around Spell Queller a lot more easily.
Yeah. I will say I think a 2/3 fly. I mean, any flyer. We know that Grixis Shadow can lock up the ground game.
Yeah.
But they put themselves to low life, and flyers can come up pretty big generally. That's why Affinity has such a great matchup. Is when you're swinging with Signal Pest and Vault Scourge, you can just Blink Moth Nexus, you can trickle in that last bit of damage pretty easily. That's sort of how I feel about the Queller here. Like, it could be a nice way to hedge. That angle, just using that flying damage over the top, but you're probably right. The Queller is not very good against a hand disruption deck. But if Victor takes out all 4 pushes, I mean, Queller's
it gets a lot better.
Yeah,
it's a lot better. It's not like Death Shadow's running. I mean, I don't know what Victor's list looks like. Sometimes they run a bolt or 2. Sometimes they don't.
I bet he's got none. I bet he's got like 2 terminates and 4 pushes.
And then probably 2 Kolaghan's command.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is Spell Queller a 2/3? Like, that card would have been totally fine as a 2/2.
I love the card.
I love it too.
I think it's in a really good place in Modern right now.
Yeah. So is Reflector Mage. These 3-mana colorless white-blue tempo creatures are hella good.
Yeah. Told you, white-blue hate bears.
White-blue hate bears.
Yep.
You know what you got to play is you got to play Thistledown Liege. You know that card?
Is that the blue-white?
The blue-white Liege. Yep. It's 4. I believe it's 4 mana. It's actually 3. 4 mana, 2/3. You know, pump your guys for
Yeah.
2/2 if they're blue-white.
Yeah.
And then I think its only abilities, it just has flash. It's pretty
Yeah.
sweet. It's pretty sweet though.
Is it? It's a flyer too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Flash flyer, or is it just flash?
Might just be flash, but either way, it makes your judges familiars into 3/3s.
Ooh.
So, spicy card.
Yeah. So both taking a mulligan to 6. I think this definitely favors Alex in regards to. I mean, he's on the draw, obviously. He plays more lands. But I mean, Victor does play hand hate spells again, so. And I see a hand with a couple lands. Looks like a Snapcaster Mage, a Death Shadow, and yep, just flash. So it's a 1/3. Good old Thistledown Liege. Looks like he did leave in a push at least.
At least one, yeah. So, do you think Alex is sniffing the Pyro? I pretty much know for a fact that Victor brought in Pyros. That could be a card that Alex comes unprepared for in game 2 here.
See, I don't know. Regardless, the deck still he's gonna leave in his paths and his bolts and his lightning helixes and.
Yeah, but this kind of game is going to be a game of inches, right? And
Yeah.
if you can fire off 2 spells in response to the path and get 2 1/1s, I think those are a big deal. But it won't matter if Victor doesn't draw a Pyro. So.
Huh. Well, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Alex play a Sphinx's Rev.
Oh, so I think that card is really good in an actual control deck.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good in a Geist deck.
No, it's absolutely not.
Yeah, if you were playing like actual Jeskai control, the kind of deck where you only played 2 bolts, and an Ajani Vengeance and a Gideon Juro, that's my for Sphinx's Rev. It's too bad that Sphinx's Rev can't make your Death Shadow opponent gain life though. that would be sweet.
Yeah.
If it was like a Blue Sun Zenith, target player draws X cards and gains X life. or if it had two clauses, right? Sphinx's, it says target player gains X life, target player draws X cards. Right? So you could make you draw the cards, make your opponent gain life. Man, my mic is just not cooperating.
Yeah, it's not. Victor double fetching and double shocking here. More than likely going to play that Death Shadow here in a minute. Alright. I think he has a Stubborn Denial in his hand as well. Ooh, he has double Death Shadow.
So double Death Shadow, Stubborn Denial seems like a nice way to try to win the game, especially on the play.
Yeah.
These guys are 1/1s right now.
Yeah. Is it Stubborn Denial, or does he just have a Snapcaster? No, it's Stubborn Denial.
No, yeah, it's Stubborn.
Yeah.
I mean, Stubborn Snapcaster.
All right. There we go. Can you hear it now?
Can you hear me now?
Nope. Some technical difficulties with Mark's mic.
Yeah, not to be confused with Mike's Mark.
Or Mike's Hard Lemonade either.
That's right. Or Maker's Mark.
Which actually sponsors us. We're sponsored by Mike's Hard Lemonade. Do the do.
Yeah, please drink responsibly.
All right, so Victor getting real aggressive here. He's gonna Stubborn Denial that path. And Alex.
And go to 9, so pump these Death Shadows to 4/4s.
Yeah. That's gonna untap. He's gonna play Detention Sphere.
That would be so brutal.
That would be really. If I'm Victor, I just scoop him up right then.
God. Oh Jesus. So Victor does have he's got a Pluto Delta and still in hand, right?
Yeah.
So he can make these things into to 7/7s. Not sure what kind of answers Alex still has at his disposal.
I know one answer he probably has is I think he has a Geist in his hand.
Oh, no,
Well,
two paths, no big deal.
yeah. I mean, he's still gonna. If he doesn't have an answer, I mean, he's still gonna get head down. He's gonna get smacked around a little bit by this 4/4. That's
sure.
gonna get bigger. But if I'm Victor and I've got that Fatal Push in hand and I've got a Fetch land, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm probably just going to hold it up just so I can play around Spell Queller. And draws. Looks like is that another Death Shadow? Or is that an Engineered
Explosive? Engineered Explosives.
Mm.
So I'm not sure why that's...
Maybe just an answer to Geist. That's what he feels.
It does answer Geist for 5 mana.
Yeah.
I guess you do what you got to do. Maybe that's also just one of the things coming in over a Fatal Push. I know, so we saw he has 1 push, but presumably he took at least 2 out, probably 3.
Maybe he just wants to do that. I don't know.
Maybe he thinks that Alex was concealing his Black Source game 1 and actually has Lingering Souls.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I guess the Engineered's fine.
I'd rather just have a threat or something threatening.
Yeah.
I guess. I did leave in that those.
Is that a Queller?
No, he drew an Electrolyze.
Oh.
But he might have a Queller in his hand. I don't know. Alex has done a good job of concealing his hand.
Yeah, very protective of his hand information. and no discard yet from Victor. Is that a Snapcaster?
That is a Snapcaster.
So Snapcaster's good here, like really good.
Yeah.
Especially when we have the Stubborn Denial.
And Alex has no doesn't have a 4th land. We're gonna see a Snapcaster.
Sure, go for it, man.
Snapcaster attempt a path. I mean, you really don't have anything else going on. Your plan is kind of contingent on this Death Shadow. So if you,
yeah, I think you got to snap Stubborn.
I think you do too.
And I think so. Does Victor? Do we think he has a Steam Vents left in the deck, or is it a 3rd Watery Grave?
He probably has I think he has a Steam Vents.
I've heard people say that sometimes it's best if you're playing the Liliana of the Veils, which I assume Victor is, that sometimes it's best to have
the 3rd Watery Grave.
Yeah, and no Steam Vent, because Steam Vents doesn't make black mana.
I would say if you're playing like Pyromancer on your board though too, that Steam
right,
Vents
you want the Steam Vent. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would play the Steam Vents. I think that flexibility is always nice.
Yeah.
To have all 3 shocks, but
yeah. Alex does draw a 4th land, but it is another Colonnade. And I think he does have Spellcaller. I think I do see Spellcaller right there, but
not sure how that's going to help him. Let's see what the draw for turn is. Looks like another snap.
Another Snapcaster.
But he doesn't have a stub dub left in the yard, but he does have a Fatal Push, which means he can answer even if so he's going to make himself take 1 more damage from the Death Shadow.
Yeah, and he
so
removes 1 off the board.
Yeah, so he's gonna take 1 less damage for that net, because he's not taking 2 from snap. But
we drew a path, I think.
So Victor being very cautious. Notice he didn't fetch this Polluted Delta. I think because he wants to be able to trigger Revolt, playing around Spell Queller. Don't you think that's what he's doing?
Yeah, I think so too.
Which seems fine. I think that's actually a cautious, but well practiced play. He wants to make sure he can revolt. Oh, Liliana, the last hope. Jeez. You can get Snapcaster back with that.
Yeah. That path's gonna take out the this Death Shadow.
Yeah, too bad. But now I think the coast is clear. I don't think. Oh well, he can Spell Queller the. You don't actually. If you play out the Lily, you don't have enough mana to snap push the Queller.
Yeah, you don't.
I mean, you could obviously do it the next turn,
Do it,
but
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, Queller,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I think that's fine.
And now Victor can't even play explosives out this turn on 3.
Yeah.
And even if he wanted to play it on 2, he'd have to get rid of his fetch land and the Revolt.
Notice he was pathed, but he didn't fetch out his basic swamp that I'm assuming he's playing. I think a lot of these decks play a basic swamp and a basic island, right?
Yeah, why wouldn't he?
Maybe he doesn't have any more fetchable land. I mean, he probably does, but...
You think he's just on island?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Double bolt.
Wow.
Double bolt. Well...
Jeez.
And that's what happens with, I mean, like I said.
Yeah, I think we said that at the outset, right?
Yeah.
Death Shadow takes himself low, and I mean, bolt, snap, bolt, that kind of thing is always real.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No.
So that was 3 paths from Alex, right?
That was 3 paths, and he snap path too.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. And Victor saw no hand disruption in that game, right? He would have been much more informed and able to play around some of those things better with hand, and also have picked apart that strategy from Alex.
Yeah. Yeah.
So kind of a weird game. I mean, in some ways it was very typical. We saw Death Shadows get pathed, but in some ways it was not the game Victor wanted to play.
Yeah. And it is what it is. Like we said, sometimes the Grixis Death Shadow deck can just have a hand that the Jeskai Geist deck has no real good interaction with, or they take away their good pieces of interaction, and they just kind of get hosed by these 7/7 Death Shadows. And sometimes, you know, you have a hand. He had, you know, double Death Shadow, but you know, Alex had the pass and the Snapcaster, and
so the turn that we saw Victor snap stubborn the path.
Yeah.
When his opponent had snap path. Did Alex chump block with the Snapcaster?
No, he fatal pushed the Snapcaster.
So what's interesting there is that Alex I think died with 6 life, right?
No.
I'm sorry. Alex won the game with 6 life.
Yeah, he won the game with 6 life.
I think that if Victor... So remember, Victor was holding up that fetch land, presumably so he could maintain Revolt for the snap push play. I think if he'd have just fetch shocked that first swing, he'd have been able to fetch shock his second... Because he swung 2 times. He connected twice with that Shadow, each for 4 times, I believe.
Yeah.
Or for 4 damage. If it would have been 7 damage each time, he would have been up 6 damage. And I'm not sure... I'd have to go back and watch to see how it would have played.
Those double bolts then.
Right. Sure. What could have done that earlier? I'm not sure when he drew the bolts though. But
I think he had one. Maybe he drew the second one right there. Maybe he'd had it.
Yeah.
Regardless,
it's tough to say. But there is something to be said about, I wonder if Victor's caution there with the fetching. You know, at some point you just want your opponent to take as much damage as possible.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I would like to know when Alex drew the bolt exactly.
Well, it could have been one of those situations where, I mean, even if he didn't, then maybe Alex then plays a Spell Queller at the end of turn, attacks him, and bolts him.
Yeah, yeah.
So
a Spell Queller flash flying for 2. I mean, I play Aven Mind Sensor in Naya just for fun.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really good. But in the main board, or any time really, flash flyers are really good.
Yeah.
They screw with your opponent's life total, free damage that your opponent isn't expecting. And you're right. I mean, if he flashed in a flyer there, swing for 2, bolts you. You don't even need the other bolt.
Yeah. Well, regardless, Alex takes a quickish 2-0 match over Victor.
Yeah, wasn't all that quick.
Well, it felt quicker than it actually was.
Yeah, sure. Well, I wish we would have had a game 3.
Yeah.
Because this is certainly a game 3 kind of match. 2 good players on 2 decks that interact quite a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, we'll be back soon. Don't go. Is this round 4? So
this is round 4. Yep.
Yeah, we got one more coming. Don't go away. Let us know in chat what you want to see. I keep saying that, and we keep not seeing anything in chat. So Maybe you guys should listen to my instructions for once. We have we have
Actually,
so
someone
many.
did say something
Oh, what
earlier.
did they? Did they? Well, maybe I should learn how to read. You know that Zach and I are illiterate, so we can't actually read the things that you tell us.
I've been getting by through life with pop-up books for a little while now.
Which is fine. I love pop-up books.
So, all right. Well, we'll get something neat and cool on this last round for you guys.
Maybe Cheerios. Maybe Cheerios. No, not okay. Zach's not feeling the Cheerios.
I'm not a big
Zach is more of a Lucky Charms guy.
Yeah, I'm not a big Storm fan in any sense of the word.